Vilnius through time, a gentle lullaby, mindful beginnings. You close your eyes and take a gentle, slow breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest as the cool air enters and leaves your lungs. Let your shoulders drop with each exhale, letting go of the day's weight. Feel your legs and feet relax against the ground. Now, imagine the air around you is warm and comforting, like a soft blanket wrapping you in safety. As you breathe deeply, picture a gentle meadow under an open sky near a friendly city. The sun is warm on your skin, and a soft breeze rustles tall grasses and the branches of distant pines. You hear the quiet sound of leaves murmuring and a bird's distant song. With each breath in, imagine drawing in calm and peace. With each breath out, let any remaining tension drift away, like smoke carried off by the wind. Your body now feels relaxed and your mind at ease. Gently let your thoughts wander to a city on a hill in the distance. This is Vilnius, a city of ancient trees, gentle rivers, and soft lights in the dusk. As you keep breathing slowly, allow yourself to journey there in your mind, where history will unfold in serene and soothing images. The whispering forests and the iron wolf. In a time long ago, the land of Vilnius was a quilt of forests, meadows, and gentle rivers. Tall pines and birches reached up to the blue sky, their leaves and needles rustling softly in the warm breeze. In the early dawn, a thin mist drifted from the river, wrapping the trees in silver light. A family of white storks danced above a quiet pool, calling softly to each other. Below, a deer tiptoed through the brush, its ears tuned to the smallest sound. The air smelled of pine and fresh earth, and everything felt calm and peaceful. This was a peaceful world, where gentle streams flowed and wildflowers nodded in the breeze. Early people lived here, too kind and free, moving with the seasons and caring for the land. They fished in the clear rivers and gathered berries in the bright fields, always taking only what they needed. Each morning they offered thanks for the sun and rain. Kind families from distant villages made their homes by the river's edge, planting gardens of rye and barley in the sunny fields and weaving baskets from river reeds. They wore simple clothes dyed with the blues of indigo flowers and the reds of summer berries. In the mornings, they woke to birds singing and warm sunlight touching their doorsteps. In summer, children played among the wildflowers and chased dragonflies along the water's edge. Each family lived in harmony with nature, honoring the woods and waters as if giving back to the life around them. One clear night, a leader named Gediminas slept in this green valley after a long hunt. He dreamed of a great wolf of iron standing on a hill by the Vilnia River, where the hill was covered in soft grass and bright wildflowers. The wolf's dark coat shimmered in the moonlight as it lifted its head and howled softly. The sound was gentle but proud, like a secret promise echoing through the trees. When Gediminas woke at dawn, the golden sunrise looked just as kind, and he felt this dream must guide him. Moved by this dream, Gediminas gathered his friends builders, and wise elders. On that very hill by the river, they set to work building the first castle from wood and earth. Every log and stone was carried by many hands, carefully placed as the walls grew higher. By sunrise the next morning, a ring of straw, thatched wooden cottages had begun to appear at the castle's foot. Thin wisps of smoke curled from their chimneys as settlers tended small gardens of vegetables and herbs. The soft-flowing river whispered nearby in gentle ripples, and the newborn city took its name from that calm stream, becoming known as Vilnius. Everyone felt they were part of something special, a new beginning under the morning sun. Craftspeople and bakers arrived with friendly smiles, lighting lanterns as evening fell. They shared warm bread and tools with neighbors and greeted each other with hope in their hearts. In the golden morning light, under the watchful gaze of that hilltop wolf, the city of Vilnius opened its eyes and began its story in peaceful silence. The castle city blossoms. In the gentle morning light, the hilltop castle and the white cathedral stood proudly over Vilnius. The sturdy stone walls of Gedimina's castle glowed softly, like an old guardian keeping watch. Beside it, the great white cathedral and its bell tower shimmered as the sun's rays touched their crosses. Below, a patchwork of orange and red rooftops spread out in the valley, and narrow cobblestone streets curled between timber-framed houses. A quiet breeze drifted through the town, carrying the faint sound of church bells and birdsong. After that first dawn, time moved quietly forward. Grand Duke Gediminas and those who came after him ruled with kindness and wisdom. Vilnius became the capital of a large and peaceful land, and for generations the city was a safe and welcoming home. Even the surrounding rivers and hills seemed to whisper the city's name lovingly, proud of the people who lived here. People from far away came to live here. Merchants from distant cities arrived by horse, drawn wagons, carrying furs, beeswax, and fine linen. Gentle artisans and wise scholars came with bright eyes and friendly greetings. In the marketplace, there were colorful cloths, fresh produce, and sweet spices piled high. Early each morning, bakers rang bells to open their shops, and the warm smell of freshly baked bread drifted through the streets. Fishermen set out on the quiet river at daybreak, catching fish to feed the village before the sun fully rose. The city grew more beautiful with each passing season. More houses of stone and wood sprang up along the streets. A sturdy church was built of white stone in the center, its steeple reaching skyward, and smaller wooden chapels dotted the squares around it. A tall wooden town hall rose in the market square. As night fell, lanterns and candles glowed softly from windows and streetlights, their warm glow flickering like stars on earth. Even when the people had gone quietly to their homes, the city remained alive in memory, with windows framed by hand-carved woodwork that looked like paintings in the dusk light. Farmers still worked the nearby fields and brought fresh milk and cheese into town at dawn. White storks often nested on the rooftops, and people believed a stork's gentle clatter brought good dreams to the city below. Wild flowers and herbs grew in every garden and courtyard. Many languages were spoken here: Lithuanian, Polish, Ruthenian, German, Hebrew. But all lived together as neighbors in peace. Children played in the quiet lanes, their laughter mixing with the soft church music floating on the breeze. As the years passed, Vilnius grew like a great garden. Open-air markets were set up where blooms, fruits, and honey, colored sweets filled the air with gentle scents. Children chased butterflies through the flower stalls. Bakers made special pastries with butter and honey that melted softly in the mouth. On cold days, people sipped warm herbal tea sweetened with honey at small wooden tables in the town square. Potters molded clay on spinning wheels by the river, and weavers worked under shady linden trees. In the evenings, the bells of the cathedral and the great churches rang out melodies of peace. People would gather near the riverbank to listen to folk tales and lullabies, sung in the soft twilight. Nights were gentle and calm, and the stars above Gediminas' castle shone down like kindly eyes watching over the city. In this way, Vilnius settled into its middle years. The old forest still remembered the ancient wolf of Gediminas' dream and the wise priest Lizdika who first guided him. The city grew, knowing it had roots even deeper than history. Vilnius remained a place where a quiet dream had bloomed into a warm home for all who lived there, filled with kindness and calm as each sunset painted the sky together. It was a city cradled in nature's arms, alive with soft beauty and memory, a city of light, Renaissance and Baroque. In the soft evening glow, St. Anna's Church and the Church of Seine. Francis stood like jewels of red brick and stone. The tall Gothic spires and ornamented windows looked like lace against the darkening sky, bathed in warm lantern light. Torches by the gates glimmered gold on the steps. Nearby, St. Peter and St. Paul's Church rose, with smooth white walls and golden domes that caught the last light. Gentle breezes brought the scent of incense and flowers through the narrow lanes. By this age, Vilnius was full of learning and art. In the year 1579, a great university opened its doors under King Stephen Bathory. Young people from many lands came to study in its halls. In rooms lit by candles and sunlight, students learned mathematics by plotting stars, wrote poetry under blossoming linden trees, and studied ancient books. Gentle scholars recorded events in soft script and studied maps of distant lands. Each year brought new teachings, and the city felt ever full of quiet curiosity and learning. Artists decorated Vilnius with beauty. Wealthy families and churches built grand Baroque buildings and gardens. St. Peter and St. Paul's Church was filled inside with thousands of white angels carved in swirling stucco. Sculptures of saints and mythical creatures decorated fountains in the yards of palaces. Gardeners planted rose gardens and lilacs that perfumed the spring air. On sunny mornings, dew touched petals opened like colorful paintings under the soft sky. Throughout the day, the city shone as if each street and building were part of a great canvas of light. Daily life was calm and bright. Noblemen walked in embroidered coats and lace, their calm laughter floating by. Carpenters, shoemakers, and goldsmiths worked quietly in their shops. Evenings were times for gentle music and feasts. The bells of the churches rang in harmony at dawn and dusk. Each festival was celebrated with songs and dances in the town square, the music mixing with the evening air. As twilight fell, families lit candles and prayed together. Legends and stories were told around fireplaces. Wise elders spoke of the white swan who once flew over the city, or of a kindly sun, goddess who graced the fields. Most of all, children heard again the gentle tale of the iron wolf. They were told it was not a beast of fear, but a wise guardian of dreams. The wolf's silent howls were said to protect each sleeping child and cradle the city in sweet slumber. Thus, in this time of art and learning, Vilnius was known as a city of light and learning, where every spire and shaded garden was a beacon of hope and calm. Under new banners, Russian era, the gentle flow of life continued even as the flags above Vilnius changed. In the late 18th century, the city came under the rule of the distant Tsar of Russia. But the sunrise was still the same every morning, and the people still woke to songs of birds in many tongues. Grand old buildings were kept, and new ones arose in neat rows. A wide new road was laid, and soon a train station stood at the city's edge. On market day, stalls filled with breads and cheeses, fabrics and flowers, the voices of traders from different lands mixed in the air like a soft chorus. Trams with quiet wheels clattered through cobblestone streets by day. In the evenings, gentle lights from oil lamps spilled onto sidewalks. In the mornings, steeple bells rang to welcome the new day, much as they always had. In every parish and synagogue, people lit candles and shared prayers. In school yards, children played games, speaking in Lithuanian or Polish or Russian with easy smiles. There were soldiers in far-off barracks. But that part of life happened out of sight in distant lands and did not disturb the city's peaceful routine. Libraries were filled with books again. Scholars secretly taught the Lithuanian language to eager youths, while others studied music and poetry in Latin and French. Craftsmen set up workshops of glass and fine wood carving. On street corners, composers and poets quietly recited their newest verses, nodding at each other as they passed. At night, the river of lamps on Gediminas hill looked the same as always, guiding home all who wandered in the dark. So Vilnius lived on under the new banners, still golden at sunrise. Gardens were planted around the new villas, and children chased storks in the parks. Even the seasons painted the city in gentle colors: cherry blossoms in pink, lilacs in purple, golden wheat fields in summer. Through it all, the echo of Gediminas' dream and the wolf's howl was still felt as a soft comfort in the breeze. The city remained a quiet home, where new chapters of history were written lightly in the air. Winter's respite. Soviet years. Time passed into a long winter. In the mid-20th century, the people of Vilnius lived under another new flag. The grand old republic was gone, but its streets and spires stood on. Even as snow blanketed the roofs in white, families kept warm by stoking fires and sharing hearty stews. In small apartments, mothers sang lullabies in Lithuanian as fathers read the old tales by the hearth. On street corners, children built gentle snow forts as their parents talked quietly of old times. The city kept working on quiet rotation. Tall monuments rose up in parks, simple and strong like the people who lived beneath them. Factories farther out along the river hummed softly, making cloth and furniture. In 1961, a tall radio tower was built outside the city, a new guardian that touched the clouds. Over it often flew the same white storks of old, as if saying the city belonged to them no matter what. Cultural life glowed warmly indoors. In the cozy rooms of the National Library, students whispered over history books. The Philharmonic Hall filled with soft music on Saturday nights, and theaters hosted gentle plays about city life. Even under the cold, the language and traditions of Lithuania were remembered. Families around dinner tables would quietly speak Lithuanian and tell their children of Vilnius's old castles and legends. On long winter nights, the ancient churches looked like dark silhouettes. But even their quiet shadows seemed to watch over the city's dreams, though outside Lithuania was part of a great union of nations. At home, the city's rhythm was calm. People strolled in parks when the sun came out, and during the brief summers, the city's long shadows turned golden late into the evening. Through all those seasons of wind and snow, Vilnius took courage and hoped, knowing that after every winter comes spring. And so it did in 1990. A new dawn rose over Vilnius. The bells rang out as the country's freedom was gently restored, and children once again learned the old Lithuanian songs at school. Dawn of hopes, modern Vilnius. With spring, Vilnius awoke to a new morning. It became the free capital of Lithuania once more, and the people cherished their city as a gift. The broad boulevards were filled again with the hush of bicycles and happy chatter in the cafes. The old center was carefully cleaned and repaired. Brick by brick the red roofs and white churches gleamed proudly. Modern buildings rose in the skyline, but they too were softened by the green hills and many trees that clasped the city in gentle arms. City parks were planted with flowers of every color. In spring, magnolias and cherry trees burst into bloom along peaceful paths. Pedestrians strolled by the calm river, past cafes where the scent of coffee mixed with morning air. In summer, the river invited rowboats that floated lazily, and in winter its banks became quiet worlds of snow. The Gediminas Tower on the hill was lit up at night again, now with colors that danced in the sky. On top of the hill stands still the statue of the Iron Wolf. It is silent and strong, a friendly sentinel watching over Vilnius. In the evening, If you walk up there, you may feel the centuries falling away and the city embracing you in a soft glow. The people of modern Vilnius have made this city their own with gentle joy. Schools teach history and nature, and children learn about Gediminas and the legends by the fireside. Grandmas knit warm sweaters during snowstorms, humming lullabies, while grandpas whittle wood quietly. In spring and summer, families picnic under the old oaks near the cathedral. Everyone greets their neighbors with a smile, and many tongues are spoken. But with friendly nods, all understand that this is home. Life in Vilnius today is a mix of the old and the new, wrapped in a sense of peace. The music of jazz or ballet might play softly from an open window, mingling with the church bells on Sunday morning. On a warm night, the silhouette of the church domes and towers is outlined against a sky of stars. You might hear the gentle rustle of tree leaves, or the distant murmur of the river. All around you, history lives in the quiet streets, from the carved stone facades to the memory of the iron wolf. Now, lying calm in your bed, take one more soft breath. Imagine you are in a peaceful meadow, just outside Vilnius at dusk. Feel the cool grass beneath you and a gentle breeze on your face. In the distance, the city's warm lights wink on one by one. Gediminas' castle on the hill is just a silhouette against the twilight, and all is still. Let the stories of this gentle city cradle your mind. With your last exhale, drift into sleep as the old city stands watch over your dreams, welcoming you into its own peaceful night.